What's up, guys? Welcome back to part 2 of this Jeep project. If you missed my last video, we disassembled this Jeep because it caught on fire here in the engine bay. Caused a lot of damage. Could have been worse, could have been a lot better. We got quite a bit going on here. So I kind of tore everything apart, got parts coming. Some stuff is, of course, discontinued. 2009 doesn't seem that long ago, but apparently, according to the dealership, you just stop making stuff after a certain period of time. So we're going to have to do some repairing on one of these wiring harnesses, or both of them, I should say, but one extensive, and see if we can fix that, at least get it roadworthy. And then I got a bunch of other parts we need to start putting back together. I got everything apart. The only thing I've done is actually put spark plugs in on the right side, but it's the left side here we were worried about. So we need to get spark plugs back in, wires, fix wiring loom, brake master cylinder. I got this whole tray conglomeration here that needs to get put back in, fender well stuff, quite a bit of work. And I'm crunched on time here. It's like late on a Sunday, so we gotta get cracking here. Of course, any kind of Chrysler product, Jeep, Dodge, whatever, gas motors, gonna be champion plugs in my opinion. Also, a friendly reminder, spark plugs, a lot of people don't realize how little the torque spec on spark plugs is. Some people over tighten these things, and I guess better to be tighter than looser, but they don't take that much. You just gotta snug them up. Go ahead and get these snug to torque. Click, all right. Click, all right. For plug wires, we're running these Napa wires here. Beld and Edge premium spark plug wires. Just want to point out they're labeled. No guessing, matching up or anything. Labeled. The ones that run around back already have protective cover on them. So that makes things pretty nice. Don't get that out of every box. Well, plugs and wires all done. Probably the easiest part of this whole thing, aside from the oxygen sensor down there, which got a new one of those from Napa. Throw that in. And then I think at that point we're on our wiring before we do anything else. Click. All right, torque to spin. Since I have pigtails for, you can see, pretty bad. This is for the alternator. I've got a pigtail for that. I've got a new pigtail for the AC compressor. Luckily, it looks like that's just the conduit barely starting to melt there a little bit. Wiring's still good. This is for your AC pressure sensor. That didn't really get touched. So these two and this portion should be good. I would have liked to replace this whole harness instead of just piecing it together, but this was like not discontinued, but they had a bunch ready to be built with no date in mind. It was just they were on order, and there was going to be like 20 of them in the nation that got built who knows when. Dealer stuff. So I'm gonna fix this up a little bit here. Over here we've got what looks worse than it probably is. A couple bare wires in this loom here, but once again, this is kind of just the loom all melted on there. I think the loom took the brunt of it, and these wires don't look terrible, so don't really have a choice. Gonna have to try to fix them. So I'm gonna take care of this engine harness first, and then, like I've said before, the ABS harness is going to be the one we're going to have to do some major work on, try to get it functioning properly. So let's get these pigtails on, start cleaning this stuff up, and then I'll show you what I kind of come up with. One thing I've gotten in a habit of doing is, as soon as you get your pigtail trimmed to where you want it, and you got your wires spliced off, and you got your coating pulled off there, and you got your wires ready to go, put your heat shrink on immediately, because I don't know how many times I didn't put the heat shrink on. I went and crimped these things on, and then you're like, oh no, you either gotta snip and redo it or try to put electrical tape on there, obviously you want heat shrink on there. That's the correct way of doing it. So before you forget, stick them on there. All right, so a little update on where I'm at here. Got a couple pigtails wired in here. Got some new loom on there, getting stuff cleaned up. Couple wires repaired up here. I actually only found 2 wires that were bare. The rest of them, you know, they kind of got the residue from the fire extinguisher on there, but none of them were really melted through, other than one right here and another on the back side here. You can see I repaired a wire there with some nice heat shrink connectors. Always use the heat shrink. If you're going to use a butt connector, do the heat shrink ones, because they seal them up nice and tight, and you can avoid problems in the future, corrosion or whatever else. So the engine harness should be good to go there, other than I need to head up to the parts store tomorrow and get some new loom to repair this spot here. New loom, some electrical tape, seal stuff up, and it should look nice and factory there. As far as the ABS harness here, I chipped away a lot of the like melted plastic on there. I think I'm gonna keep, this is your locking tab here. One side is still functioning, so that's good. We can lock this thing on there. And you can see on the back side, none of the wires down in the connector are melted through. This is all, once again, just kind of just more discolored from the fire extinguisher stuff and whatnot. None of these wires are really bad. So luckily nothing was really damaged until you get down to here. There's definitely some bare wires. I already repaired 1, 2 wires there. I repaired one of the ABS speed sensor wires there. They always, so it'll be 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. They twist them together. So this is one wheel. And then I've got 2 more of these that have bare wires, but I ran out of butt connectors. These are actually very expensive if you go to O'Reilly's and buy them. So I'm gonna have to get another pack, finish up this wiring harness here, and then I need to address the speed sensor wiring down there. I can repair it down there. That shouldn't be too big of a deal. So everything else is looking pretty good. This is actually coming along a little bit better than I thought. I'm just gonna repair this, get some new loom, and I'm gonna try to find, I've got some junk harnesses at work. I'm gonna try to find a cover off one of those that I can just kind of lay over top, zip tie it on there or something, just so it looks like it's kind of factory. And we should be able to get by with just doing that on this harness. So some wiring repairs going on. That's good. I got our new steering shaft in there. Went ahead and threw that on. I hit these brake lines with a little black paint because the fire kind of damaged the paint on there. Put a little black paint on the frame down there where it was looking kind of nasty. So we're getting somewhere here. I think next, since I can't really do anything with the wiring anymore tonight, I'm going to put the master cylinder on. I need to bench bleed that, get that on there, get our lines on there, and then maybe get this whole tray that I took out of here on there and start going back together, because I can finish this up, I think, with that stuff on there. So if you're not familiar with bench bleeding a master cylinder, basically before you put this thing on there, you want to get fluid filled up in here, and you want to get as much air bled out of your master cylinder portion as you can. And usually you'll want to use some fittings that go down in your, they'll thread into your ports here. They got some tubes that come up, some lines that go into back into the master cylinder. You fill it up and you can just kind of bleed it that way, and you're kind of circulating all the air out of there. I don't have that. They do come with some plugs here, so I can get it kind of bled and then stick these plugs in there so that not all the fluid leaks out as bad. But if you don't have all that and you just kind of want to bleed as much out of there as you can, you're just going to want to try to get things flowing and moving and at least started in this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up our reservoir here a little bit. Don't fill it all the way up. And then I'm gonna, this is easy. Some of them are flush and you gotta put them in a vise and just kind of get a screwdriver and just start plunging this thing. But this is, the plunger is like kind of external there. So I'm gonna plunge this thing. See, got some stuff coming out. I'm just gonna hold it. There we go. Push it in, hold it. There we go. Get this thing plunged. There we go. We're getting some stuff started here. Hopefully I don't run out of fluid. I may have to get more. Let's fill this puppy up. All right. Here we go. Now let's drip it out of there and get as much. Oh, that's not good. You don't want to get brake fluid on a whole lot because it's very corrosive. It'll peel paint. Let's fill her up. We got her moving pretty quickly on this thing, so now that we got that kind of juicing, go ahead and plug her off so we're not dripping everywhere when we stick this back. When we get it bolted up and before we put our lines on, let's try to keep some of this fluid in here. All right. There. All right. That one. That one. There's the lines on there. What do we want to do now? So where we can continue. I think we could probably get this kind of floated back over here and we could probably put that tray in there. Here's our brand new ABS module bracket slash washer solvent jug slash PCM mounting bracket conglomeration. This all just kind of sits up in that wheel well there, up there. It was kind of a pain to get out. I didn't really film it too much, but let's squeeze this new one in there. Hopefully it goes pretty smooth. Do a little fidangling. Well, don't go making it easy now or nothing. Christ. All right. Sit down in there. Woo! Man, look how good this is starting to look. So it's a 10, 10 down there, 10, 10 down there. This thing's all bolted up. I still gotta put our washer pump in there. I need the hose running up to your spritzer up there. Your nozzle was melted, so I need to get a new line, run it down through there. So I'm gonna wait to put the wheel well on because it's easier to route that line from underneath. But ABS module is mounted. It's just got some grommets on the bottom and a 10mm bolt there. Now I gotta get our PCM in here, and then we can get our harness kind of routed, and it'll start coming together here on top. All right, moving right along here. Went ahead and finished up repairing all those little wires up in there in the ABS module, and kind of got it looking not too bad. And actually the locking deal still works on this side. I cleaned up the connector really good, and I found this cover off a spare harness I had laying around the shop. Basically just took it off a different connector. It's not really like exact, but if you just pop the hood and you're looking around, basically it looks factory. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. So this connector right here wasn't too terrible. It's on there. It's clipped on there. I just put some tape around it because it was a little bit melted. I'm gonna see if I can do something else with that, but for the meantime, that's kind of how that's gonna be. Maybe permanent, who knows. But yeah, down here everything's looking pretty good, pretty factory. Put some more loom on the engine harness up here. This is off another harness as well. I took it off and it actually kind of blends in. If it was brand new, it'd kind of stand out, and like that, it just kind of looks factory. Doesn't look bad. So brakes are bled for the most part. I think I still have some air in there, but so at this point, I'm going to try to get this fender back together. First piece of the puzzle right here, kind of back together. This plastic kind of skin here, support, whatever you want to call it, lays right in your fender. And it's kind of, I think I got it back in there right. I don't know. First time kind of doing one of these fenders on a JK, so then this can go in, and then I had taken that piece out first, so once that's snapped in, then we can lay that up in there, and I think start going back together that way. I don't know. Let's try it out. All right. Let's see here. This guy. Slide over there. Huh. All right. Moving right along, guys. Try to keep up. Fender well is in. This thing's pretty sturdy on there, looking pretty good. The only thing I had to do is, from the factory, they've got these like rivets that are supposed to go up, these like plastic rivets that go through here. I just use push pins. It's good enough. It's basically doing the same thing. It's solid. We're good to go in there. No more melty, looking nice and stock. Look at that, nice and shiny, looking good. Painted up that frame a little bit down there. I could probably spritz it a couple more times. I still do need to do like a final power washing. I want to wash this thing for him before I give it back. Just get every little nook and cranny and get all the crap out of there. Last thing I want to do here before the night is over is clear the codes and make sure nothing comes back here. No powertrain, DTC still okay. So technically we should not have a check engine light or ABS light. People are sleeping, but whatever. Start right up. The only thing we have is tire light. That's probably because he doesn't have sensors in his new wheels and tires. And there we go. I don't hear my wife running down the stairs yet, so I think I'm all right. Sweet, so we got those cleared. We won't know for sure on that speed sensor probably till we take it for a spin and make sure we got a reading there. But I'm pretty confident we're good there. So, yeah. Think we're pretty well there, other than, like I said, I gotta bleed the brakes a little bit more and get a little bit more air out of there, and then I think we're good. So we'll pick back up there. Well, ABS light came on. Let's see what it is. Bet you it's left front wheel speed sensor. Anti-lock brake module internal. C2200. Currently no ABS DTCs after clearing that. Let's take her for one little spin here and see if after we start moving we get code come back. Maybe it was just stored from before and needed cleared. I don't know. Yep, anti-lock brake module internal C2200. What does that mean? So as of right now, that code C2200 or whatever it was keeps coming back. As soon as you get down the road, code sets. So I'm gonna have to do a little digging into that thing. I don't have a meter with me or a test light or anything to check powers and grounds and that kind of stuff. See maybe if we got some resistance in one of the wires, or maybe it shorted out the ABS module and it's just a bad module now. But I'm gonna have to do some checking out here. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put it on the back burner for now and get back to it here in a couple days, because I got another obligation I got to get in another video. But everything else is working good on this thing, so I'm gonna check back in when we can check this thing out a little bit further. I knew there would be some kind of gremlin or something. It feels good getting my garage cleaned up here. But yeah, I kind of called it in my head. I was thinking, man, it was going too smooth. It was going too smooth to not have some kind of issue. But that's how it goes. So we'll get her checked out. We'll figure it out one way or another. And then we'll try to wrap this project up. All right, so circling back around to the ABS on this thing. Brought my meter home, checked my powers and grounds, rechecked all the wiring I redid and everything was checking good. Put it all back together, clear code. As soon as you get 10 mile an hour, it set that code for ABS module internal failure error or whatever it was, C2200. Did some research, looked like that's might be a common issue. I'm assuming that the bare wires, when key was on or something at some point, shorted out the module. So talked to my buddy, kind of decided, you know, we'd just let it go for now, and down the road we'd put a module in at some point. Everything else was working good, so I fiddled with it a little bit more this morning, just rechecking connections, like making absolutely sure that's not something on my end, because I would feel bad if, you know, did all that and I left something loose or missed something. Never did find anything, but put it all back together. Brakes still felt just a hair spongy to me, so I rechecked to get my wife out there, bled brakes. I did get like one little pocket of bubble air out of the right rear, so there was something there. Brakes feel really good now. And started test driving it, and the ABS light is currently not coming on. So light was coming on right at 10 mile an hour, and here we are, 30 mile an hour. No ABS light, not coming on, so I'm not completely sure what was going on there. Some kind of goofy logic lock with the module or something from being connected, and all kinds of wiring repairs or something. Or it's just on its way out and the light's gonna come back on. Either way, right now it's off, so I'm gonna call it good for now. Final test drive in the Jeep before calling it good. Figured we'd get one last look at all our work here. She is looking factory. This little cover deal I got on the ABS module there, can't even hardly tell that there was an issue. Just looks factory. From up here, you know, first glance, not bad. All this stuff just burnt to a crisp, and it's driving good. Look up under the wheel well, can't even tell anything happened. I mean, factory, good to go. Take one last look at this thing before we send her off. It is a clean little Jeep, you know, for an 09. It's not bad looking. I think he just put those wheels and tires on there and the lift, and said he had some other work. Looks like there was some suspension, maybe ball joints and stuff he did. So he did put a lot of work into this thing just for this thing to catch fire. So glad we could help him out and get this thing back on the road. I'd hate for someone to have to give up their rig just for a little fire like that and lose all that work and lose their toy. So feels good. Sometimes it just takes a little effort, you know. You know, a Sunday, couple late nights, and all of a sudden you got to fix rig and you can't even tell that anything happened. So that's going to do it for me in this video. Thanks, guys, for watching. See you in the next one.